The best investment on earth is Earth. We all picture the day when we could be sitting on a beach far, far away from any cubicle or traffic light. A place where we can catch some sun, sip on our favorite fruity drink as we watch the money roll in from all the investments we have made. You will never have to worry about money again. Your money is now working hard for you, and so you will never have to work hard for it. Your investments are paying for your mimosas and luxury lifestyle. Wouldn't that be a dream? Well, if you ever hope to make this dream a reality, you're going to have to invest. But in the investment world where the goal is to multiply your dollars, there are only two assets that dominate: stocks and real estate. They have long been pinned against each other and have created trillions of dollars in returns for both classes of investors. But the question often comes up, which asset is greater, stocks or real estate? In the search for the answer, I Googled what makes a good investment and found characteristics of a good investment. And they are safety, predictable outcome or guaranteed returns, in demand, consistent earnings or payouts, easy to buy or sell, and undervalued. In this video, I want to prove to you that real estate was, is, and forever will be the greatest asset and the best investment in the world. The first characteristic of a good investment is safety. And in this comparison between the two assets, it's not even close. Real estate has long been the most durable asset by far. It's literally as old as dirt and has been here long before us and will be here long after we're gone. Land can be flooded, set afire, and even bombed upon, but even the world's largest bombs can destroy it. Not only is it durable as all hell, but according to the Constitution of the United States of America, it is our given right to own it. A little spot to call your own where no one can tell you what to do or what to wear. It is the pinnacle of freedom and what this country was founded upon. Stocks or equity, on the contrary, are far from being safe. It's tough to really justify its safety. Really. Can you name anyone other than the Simpsons that can predict the future or tell you if any stocks will be up, down, or sideways? Nope, no one can. Take, for example, if your grandfather had invested in one of the top 500 stocks of the 1960s. These 500 stocks were thought of as a one-decision stocks: buy and never sell. But since the 1960s, the top 500 has had a lot of turnover. According to a Bloomberg report from March 2007, 50 years after the modern-day S&P 500 came into existence, there were only 86 original members still remaining. Your grandfather would have had a 1 in 20 chance to hit a winner that would still be dominant today. And new data shows more than ever companies are moving in and out of the S&P 500 more than ever before. The truth is, your chances of picking a single winner in the market is less than 5%. And how can you call an asset safe when you're not even behind the wheel? Equities are like linking your cart to someone else's horse, where you hope that whoever's steering the horse isn't a madman. And if he is, you only have one of two choices. Either you jump off or wait to the fiery end. Steering the horse yourself is not an option. You're just along for the ride. Predictable outcome. The second characteristic of a good investment is predictable outcome or guaranteed return. Guaranteed is a strong word, really. There's nothing guaranteed in life, right? However, there is something that can be predictable and almost guaranteed forever, and that is our need for shelter. It is one of our basic needs, that is food, water, clothes, and shelter. Shelter was needed in the 1720s, 1820s, 1920s, 2020s, and beyond. No technology can destroy it. Besides, real estate also holds multiple purposes. It can be used for mining, industrial, warehouse, retail, and office space. If you can predict a home's desirability, you can almost certainly predict its return. A single-family rental, for example, will have a continued predictable return because it will have a predictable demand. Whatever it rents for today is likely what it will rent for 100 years from now, adjusted for inflation, of course. If anything is predictable, it is real estate's ability to appreciate with inflation. It has done so for almost 200 years.
All of these economists with 160 IQs that spend their life studying it, can you name me one super wealthy economist that's ever made money out of securities? You know, I mean, just go down the list.
No.
No, it's an interesting history. But if you look at the whole history of them, you know, they don't make a lot of money buying and selling stocks, but people who buy and sell stocks listen to them, which is, I have a little trouble with that.
But we start with what else? Another record day on Wall Street as the snazzy animation said, the graphics say S&P 500.
Stocks, on the other hand, are far from being predictable. There is 24-hour coverage of the markets where the greatest economic minds from MIT, Yale, and Princeton argue over the direction of the markets. Remember in the 1990s, no one could have ever imagined Walmart ever having to bend a knee to any other retailer until Amazon showed up. And Amazon isn't the first disruptor. Walmart did it to Kmart, Netflix did it to Blockbuster, Google did it to Yahoo, Yahoo did it to AOL, and so on. The fact is, when there is high competition, long-term returns are impossible to predict, which is the reason why prices go up and down more than your favorite roller coaster. And if volatility makes your stomach hurt, stocks or equities are not for you. In demand. The third characteristic of a good investment is to have long and predictable demand. What can be more desirable than land? Real estate will forever be in demand because it is literally part of everything you do in life. Need to go to the grocery store? Someone owns the piece of land that business is on. Going to work? Someone owns the building you work at. Going to your favorite destination? Yep, someone owns that too. Land or real estate is literally part of every business or place you most desire. That is why real estate will forever be in demand. Stocks, on the other hand, have high demand whenever the product or service is sexy and in demand. Sure, Tesla has high demand and is hotter than Turbo Man at Christmas, but believe me, eventually, demand will fade. Remember the Ford Motor Company? It was the hottest automotive stock to own in the 1960s. They had introduced that sexy sports car called the Mustang and had just come back from winning multiple 24-hour Le Mans over the Italians and their prestigious Ferraris. Then, in the mid-1970s, they changed the look of the Mustang and the Mustang went from hot to not. It's difficult to imagine Tesla not being the be-all end-all, but eventually, Teslas are going to stop being hot. Believe me, you're going to stop thinking of Elon's dance moves as funny and they will become just plain lame. There is no question real estate wins this one too, but go ahead, buy that Tesla you've always wanted, because even if you do, you're going to need a nice piece of winding road and a piece of land to enjoy it on. Consistent earnings or payout. The fourth characteristic of a good investment is consistent earnings or payout. For real estate, this is probably its strongest point. Most real estate investors invest in residential property. The difference between rent paid and property expenses like property taxes, insurance, and maintenance is free cash flow or earnings. As long as you bought right and keep the property desirable, you're likely going to benefit from positive cash flow and earnings. Most importantly, by having control of the asset, you will have input on the earnings of the investment and what payout it will give. Most stocks, on the other hand, don't even give shareholder payouts or what is called a dividend. And for those that give out dividends, only 13 stocks have paid a consistent dividend to its shareholders for over 100 years. So if you own stock with a nice dividend, don't be surprised if the board decides to lower or even eliminate the dividend payout next year. They will blame it on the virus, but the truth is, it doesn't matter what you want, you're not in control. Oh yeah, about earnings. Sure, high earnings will increase the value of your stock, but you don't have a say in what you do with the company's cash flow, which goes back to control. If you can't control the asset, you're just along for the ride. Real estate wins this one too, hands down. Easy to buy or sell. The fifth characteristic of a good investment is its ability to easily buy or sell. I know what you're thinking. Yeah, try to fix this one, Ralphie. No way real estate is better than stocks in this aspect. I mean, there's some houses that take years to sell, right? Well, in my opinion, this one's kind of a tie. Let me explain. Sure, there is no doubt you can much more easily be able to hit a few clicks on your investment account and sell your stock much quicker and easier than selling a piece of land. But that's only half the characteristic. I'd like to argue that it is even easier to buy real estate than stocks. Sure, it might be faster to buy stocks versus real estate, but easier? I don't know about that. Keep in mind, when you're buying real estate, you're usually buying with a professional called a real estate broker. He or she can walk you through the process and will prevent you from making critical mistakes during the process, likely making it easier than most people randomly picking their favorite hot ticker.
Call me now for your free reading.
Besides that, the US government will aid most families or individuals with first-time home owner programs, down payment assistance, and government-guaranteed FHA loans. Imagine walking into a bank and asking them for a 30-year loan to buy $250,000 worth of Tesla stocks. You want a 3.5% interest rate and plan on giving them only 3% down. The banker will laugh at you and likely proceed to walk you out the door. He will think you're delusional. I would like to call this one a tie, but to give stocks one and I call this contest a complete shutout, I'm going to give this one to stocks. It's a close one in my opinion, but stocks squeaks out the W. Undervalued. The sixth and final characteristic of a good investment is buying an asset that is undervalued. This characteristic once again highlights yet another aspect of real estate where it is a much better investment than stocks or equities. The real estate market is what is called an inefficient market, meaning a transaction can be completed with only two people, the buyer and the seller. During the negotiation process to what is called the meeting of the minds, either the buyer or the seller might know something of the property that the other one might not be aware of, or might be just simply better positioned. This would cause either one of the two parties to have an upper hand. This is primarily the reason why you are more likely to be able to buy undervalued real estate than undervalued stocks. This gives some people the ability to buy undervalued real estate and sell it for a profit almost immediately to another buyer. The stock market is the total opposite. It is what is called informational efficient markets, meaning every buyer or seller has the same information as everyone else, making the chances of buying undervalued stocks almost impossible. If anyone has information on a company that affects the price of its stocks and you buy or sell on that fact alone, you could go to jail for what is called insider trading. That's what Martha Stewart got popped for. She spent 2 years in the slammer for it. Besides that, stocks are valued all over the place and for different reasons. The scariest is no one can really tell you what's built into the price. Some stocks are valued with the expectations that earnings long in the future will eventually meet and match the price of stocks. But expecting is not investing. Nothing in the future is guaranteed, right? Speculation is also not investing. It's more like what happens in Vegas, only they call it gambling. Real estate wins this one too. Keep in mind, I'm not saying I don't play the markets too. I like the thrill of it, only I don't consider it my most secure investment. That's what I have real estate for. Real estate wins the challenge 5-1. At this point, you're probably thinking, this is just another realtor trying to convince you to buy a house so you can cash in on commission, right? Well, would you feel better if you had the opinion of the greatest equity investor alive? Would you be interested in hearing what Warren Buffett, the third richest person in the United States with a net worth of over $80 billion, thinks of the subject? Well, you're in luck. Warren has input if you dare listen.
If I had a way of buying a couple 100,000 single-family homes and had a way of managing, the management is enormous. It was really a problem because they're one by one. They're not like apartment houses. But I would load up on them, and I would take mortgages out at very, very low rates. But if anybody is thinking about buying homes, 5 years ago they couldn't buy them fast enough because they thought they were going to go up, and now they don't buy them because they think they're going to go down, and interest rates are far lower. It's a way, in effect, to short the dollar because you can take a 30-year mortgage, and if it turns out your interest rate's too high next week, you refinance lower, and if it turns out it's too low, the other guy's stuck with it for 30 years. So it's a very attractive asset class now.
If you are a young individual investor at home and you have your choice between buying your first home or investing in stocks, where would you tell someone is the better bet?
If I thought I was going to live, if I knew where I was going to want to live the next 5 or 10 years, I would buy a home and I'd finance it with a 30-year mortgage, and it's a terrific deal. And if I was an investor that was a handy type, which I'm not, and I could buy a couple of them at distressed prices and find renters, I think that's, and again, take a 30-year mortgage. It's a leveraged way of owning a very cheap asset now, and no, I think that's probably as an attractive an investment as you can make.
I hope this video has given you information on why I believe real estate is the greatest investment in the world. If all that was not enough, I would like to leave you with this one last point to hopefully push you over the edge. The company stock you're purchasing is headquartered in a piece of land. Its manufacturing plant is sitting on a piece of land. The materials used to manufacture that Tesla, your phone, and everything else in your possession all came from minerals mined from a piece of land. And the power to fuel those gadgets, yep, that comes from the earth too. Literally everything we buy and sell needs land to create it. That is why I believe real estate is the greatest investment in the world.